Do I really believe the law of attraction is a like a law? Like, is it an absolute, basically?
Mhm.
Something I think I've been realizing in the past year is how much gray area there is. It's not always just black and white between like, okay, the law of attraction is completely true or it's completely not. And even actually the other night I was looking up criticisms of the law of attraction. And I've been kind of taking like this more critical thinking approach towards it. Like, are there criticisms and like maybe we should take it with a grain of salt. And so I think that's what has helped me recently is to take it more with a grain of salt. And I've also got more into some Buddhist ideologies of like of going the middle way and finding more like not basically prioritizing balance over like being extreme. So I think
Mhm.
where the law of attraction, it can get a little too much to the point where it's kind of it's almost a bit materialistic. It can be if like what you're focused on
Mhm.
is like gaining so much money, which is what I was focused on at one point. And and that can be helpful. And so I think the law of attraction can be helpful at some points in your journey when you need some hope or you need to like empower yourself. But then I think maybe once you empower yourself, it's more important to then like bring yourself back to a balanced style of living. And I realized that like I'm prioritizing different things now. The money isn't as important as like how I feel day to day and my inner peace and my friendships and connections. And yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's really been interesting to see how your concepts of like what you believe in self improvement can change over time.
Yeah, no, I think you're so right. It almost reminds me of one of my friends is like also a mindset coach, and so I'll do sessions with her, and she introduced me to Tony Robbins, like the human needs assessment, which you might have seen on my close friend story. I posted it like a
Hmm.
month ago or something,
Yeah.
and she was telling me how these needs can change over time, and like it just depends on where you are, and it reminds me of like where well I'll go into the needs first. I think the needs are like it's like safety, love, um, significance, which is like kind of almost like public recognition. Um, there's like three more. I'm totally blanking on them. If people look up Tony Robbins Human Assessment, they'll see all of them. There's six of them, and it just depends on where you are currently in your journey. One of them is contribution. I just remembered, so how much you can like contribute to society. And then there's two more, and it just labels them in order of one of them is uncertainty. So there's certainty and there's uncertainty. So how much you need both. Then there's contribution, there's significance, there's love, and then I think the last one is I don't think it's safety. There's one more, and it just reminds me of tying it into Maslow's hierarchy because it's like at one point you, like you said, you were at that like the tier of the hierarchy where you had to prioritize the food and the shelter. And
Mhm.
so money, of course, was on the forefront of your mind because living in this world, that's how you do that.
Mhm.
And so, from a law of attraction perspective, it makes sense that you were like thinking about it from a very material place of wanting more to be able to provide for yourself. And there's also probably a part of you that's like, oh, great, I'm giving up on my dreams. So, like, and then I think now that you have maybe surpassed that tier, you can
Mhm.
be at a place where your needs also
Yeah.
have changed. So maybe at that point in your life, certainty was the top. And maybe
Yeah.
now it's kind of dropped down a few notches and you're like, oh, I'm ready to travel and try something different. So maybe
Mhm.
uncertainty has kind of made its way to the top. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important to acknowledge that like things are constantly flowing. Like
Mhm.
we're all like as humans, our souls are we're always in a state of flux. And sometimes
Yeah.
we're in certain states a lot longer than others. And I do believe that intrinsically we have core natures. Like I do believe for myself, intrinsically, I have always been a human that has really valued uncertainty. Like I
Mhm.
really, really have always valued like change and
Mhm.
spontaneity and adventure, like almost as long as I can remember. I've never been that person that's wanted certainty. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's just an intrinsic part of who I am. But like, you know, I also think that throughout my life, like maybe my need for maybe my need for love has changed. I think currently when I took the human needs assessment, love was like almost at the bottom, but maybe in like
Oh,
a couple
interesting.
years from now,
Uh-huh.
love might be a little bit more at the top. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it just changes at where you are in your life, and I think also in your healing journey, like how much you are willing to heal certain parts of yourself. Because, like I said, for me, I think, and you know, this like even relates to the conversation we were having about avoidant attachment style. I
Mhm.
think I run away from love, and I think I run away from intimacy. And so when I saw my assessment and that love was like the second to last value I had, I was like, that because that kind of makes sense. But I wonder if there is, you know, a part of me that after I heal and I work on that avoidant attachment pattern, that maybe in a few years from now, it would be
Mhm.
higher. Maybe it wouldn't be number 5 on my list of 6, maybe it'd be number 3. Um, but I know that you resonate with avoidant attachment as well. And like, I
Yeah.
don't think there's enough conversation on that. And I don't think there's enough, at least from what I've noticed, women talking about their avoidant attachment. You see it a
Yes.
lot on TikTok about women like, um, calling out men and fuckboys
Yes.
for like, you know, like, "Oh, he just ghosted me. Oh, he's gonna
Mhm.
do this to me." And then it's so funny because I will look at those TikToks and be like, "I'm the guy.
Oh,
I'm the one who does this to people." And I feel like I don't have enough women friends who can relate to that because a lot of my women friends don't identify as that. And
mhm.
so I'll tell them about my patterns and they'll kind of look at me like, "Girl, you need some help." So when you told me that you resonated, I was really excited to hear like what your journey with that has been like however much you feel comfortable sharing, of course.
Oof, yes, I would love to go into this. It's so true that, like, you hear a lot of women calling out men, but there it exists in women too. And we probably just I don't know why it's not talked about so much yet, but you're the first person I've really seen talk about it, and I really admire
Mhm.
that.
I think it's because there could be shame around it, right? Because like as a woman, like I feel shame around having that because a lot of my other women friends are like, oh, like my friends will joke with me. They're like, Nista, if you were a guy, I would never date you. Like I could never date you because like you just leave everyone. And I'm like, oh, and so it's made me feel not proud of my behavior. And I think maybe that's why a lot of women don't talk about it. I also just think statistically there is most women, like I think you and my other friend who's a girl, like who's, you know, we're the only you guys are the only 2 I know who identify as avoidant attachment. All my other women friends are either secure or they're anxious. And so I really can't relate to them with attachment style conversations.
Mhm.